Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Are your ad campaigns lighting up the dashboard, but not the pipeline? That's bullspend, and marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
My boss asked for results, so I opened my dashboard for the only positive-sounding metric I had: impressions.
Cut the bull spend. See revenue, not just reach. LinkedIn delivers the highest return on ad spend of major ad networks. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tech Magic. I am your host, Cathy Hackl, and I'm joining you today from South Africa. I'm joined this week, as always, by my amazing co-host, Lee Kebler. Lee, what's up?
I need to get one of those like old school pull down maps. You know what I mean? And just have like little pins stuck in them of where. And I need time zones. Like that's really the problem that I have with you right now. That's why you need time zones.
Yes.
Like it's not that I don't actually care where you are. I just don't know when you are.
Yeah, trying to schedule this podcast has been interesting. It's like, it is blah, blah, blah time in South Africa. Can you make it at blah, blah, blah time?
And whenever we text each other in the morning to figure out what time we can both record, one of us is getting woken up. Like that's really what's happening.
That's really what's happening. I agree. Oh my gosh. It is so true. It has been nonstop travel for me. But yeah, I'll tell you why I'm in South Africa. I just finished keynoting day 1 of Singularity University Summit, South Africa. Okay. So Singularity U, which a lot of people know from Silicon Valley, it has a lot of like global like Singularity used by country as well. And I've become really good friends with Mick Mann and his brother Shane, who run Singularity U South Africa. And when I came in May, I got to see Mick and he invited me to come back. And I said, resounding yes. I actually love everything that's happening like gaming wise and youth wise in the African continent. So I just knew I needed to come back. So just wrapped up my keynote. I was focusing on the tech convergence, the moment of tech convergence, everything related to AI and what's happening there, but also spatial computing, spatial intelligence, talked about gaming and wrapped up. Great feedback. I'm very bullish on Africa in general as a continent, very bullish. And they have a very young population as well. A lot of them are gamers. So it's interesting to kind of watch Africa disrupt. It's just a really vibrant place. Complicated,
sure.
In this specifically, I'm now complicated as in South Africa. As a country, it's got a really interesting history. But yeah, it's been really interesting.
And you're there for the next couple of days?
Yeah. I got here yesterday. I'm here for the 2 days of the conference and 1 day relaxing. And then the perk that some of the speakers get is that you get to go on safari.
Now, I will say this is kind of your second safari of the year. So
I know.
I'm 2 behind. I've been on no safaris and you've been on 2 safaris. There's a real imbalance here that
There's a real imbalance. There is FOMO. That's what that is. Yeah, like I thought I was just going on 1 safari this year, but then this popped up. So what I did was I said, absolutely yes. And then I said, can I bring my dad? Because my dad's turning 80.
Oh, that's
80
amazing.
years old. And he's going to turn 80 on safari.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I get to be the cool, daughter that takes him on safari on his 80th.
Yes, that is pretty rad.
Making memories.
I know Singularity University, but is it affiliated with Ray Kurzweil? Is he part of it? Because he really is like the person who coined the phrase singularity and defined it.
Yeah, so Ray and Peter Diamandis, and I believe someone else, I can't remember their name, created Singularity U.
Right.
I mean, Peter's still very involved with the Abundance 360 community. It's a really interesting community of folks, really just very innovative folks. I really have made amazing connections through Singularity U, and I've spoken at several of their events. So,
that's awesome.
So yeah, like their executive training program is really good, and then they're doing some AI trainings, and I don't know, just it's great.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm just like a long time big Ray Kurzweil fanboy for sure.
So yeah, definitely Ray was one of the founders of it. So that's this week, and then next week I am going to be away from the pod because I'm going to Rome, and I'm actually just want to enjoy being in Rome. Yeah,
When
I
in
arrived that
Rome.
Monday, so I literally just want to not have to figure out schedules with you, Lee.
That's fine. That's fine.
I want to go eat some pasta and go to bed after that, after
Yeah, there
walking
you
beautiful, beautiful streets of Rome.
That's all I can ask of you. Nope, I'll handle the podcast. We'll have a great episode next week.
You'll handle the pod. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on my end. Any updates on your end?
Honestly, I'm just like getting back from our trip to the Redwoods and kind of getting settled back in. A lot of music stuff happening in Portland right now that I'm involved with. So we've got a lot of kind of like back burner projects just in some music production stuff that's going on. From the tech side of things, we'll see. I'm working on a few things. But yeah, I've always got something kind of cooking in the background and I can't talk about it yet.
And talking about the background, I was like, I'm going to run 10 minutes late. And I jump in and guess, y'all, what he's doing. He's DJing. And he put me, I was on mute. So I'm like dancing. And you're like, you were early. I was like, well, sorry for being 3 minutes early, Lee. I caught you DJing. It was great. It was awesome.
I have a lot of music producers coming to the studio tonight. And I felt so rusty. I was like, okay, I got 5 minutes. I can get like a practice session in right now. Yeah. And then you joined. I was like, you know what? Screw it. Okay, fine. That's fine. It's part of the brand. It's what I do.
I loved it. I had a blast, DJ Keebs, or whatever your DJ name is. What was your DJ name?
It's Keebs. Yeah. Last name's Keebler,
so
like
DJ
the cookies.
Keebs. Okay.
Yeah, it is. It's been Keebs, Keebs.com. Like, yeah, that's where all my music stuff lived.
So that's going to be from now on my co-host, DJ Keebs.
I've been called worse. So Keebs is fine. It's a nickname since college and it has done me well.
Well, there you go. I got to think about my DJ name now. So, all right, let's get into the news. We got a lot to cover this week. This one, actually, I see this. I understand why this is. So this is from Meta. There was a headline this week that said Meta glasses are the top selling product in many Ray-Ban stores. Ray-Ban Meta glasses are the top selling product in 60% of Ray-Ban stores across Europe and the Middle East, showing demand for smart glasses is strong. I mean, to be expected. I think, they're a fantastic product. I'm bringing them on Safari. It's one of the best. For me, vacations with my Meta glasses where I don't have to be taking out the phone. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Well, it's even like with the Wayfair, I'm not surprised at all, because, and you and I kind of talked about this offline, Ray-Bans are already expensive, right? Like as a brand, as sunglasses go, I wouldn't call them the most luxury item. Like they're affordable for those who want them, but they are considered somewhat of a luxury item, between $200 and up, right? 150, I think, is the like lowest Wayfarers you can probably get right now. And then you look at the Meta glasses at $299. So with what I would consider a nominal increase, you're getting a lot of tech shoved into the latest Wayfarers that are Ray-Bans that also have all of this like AI camera integration tech. I'm kind of surprised that they're only $299. Consider like someone's taking the hit, right? I feel like on these glasses, either Ray-Ban with their partnership know they're going to sell these glasses, so they're eating a little bit of that profit margin because those are marked up, right? You're like MSRP on anything's marked up. Or Meta, and Meta's been known to do this, especially in the early days of the Quest, where they kind of ate the cost of the tech to get the product out there. And now we've seen that like work really well for them as a marketing and business strategy to get people to adopt their stuff. Here's the truth. While I'm traveling this last week, I was walking around Eureka, California. We were just on the way back up.
Yeah.
And the one store I wanted to go into was the Ray-Ban store because I knew they would have the Meta glasses. They were closed. They weren't open yet. It was way too early, but I had that thought. And I will admit that even as someone who wears glasses, it would have never crossed my mind to go to the Ray-Ban store. And I like Ray-Bans. But I would have never had that.
You would have never been like, I must go to the Ray-Ban store.
Right.
Yeah,
but the Ray-Ban store had advertisement in the window for the Meta glasses on the Wayfarers and all of that. And I wanted to go for the first time in ages. So yeah, I totally would have expected these to be a hot seller for them.
Well, yeah, I mean, you get the cameras, you can listen to music, right? You can answer calls, you can eventually send audio through WhatsApp, like very useful, like very, very useful. And the AI is just, for me, it's gravy on the device and they look good. They're Ray-Bans.
I will say, yeah, because you showed yours off on the last episode and I was shocked at how thin the frames have gotten. Because the first gen, they look good, but the frames are thick. And it is a style, right? Like it is an aesthetic, and it's an aesthetic that I like, but I was really impressed with your pair and like how thin they got the frames on those glasses.
Yeah.
So the closer we get to that, I think the better. It's just going to be an interesting future.
Yeah. So, I mean, congratulations to Meta on that.
And Ray-Ban.
And Ray-Ban, Luxottica. Yeah. When I was in Milan, not their HQ, because that was a different part of Italy, but one of their bigger offices was really close to where I was speaking. I was like, ooh, wonder what's behind closed doors.
But you already had a pair.
I already have a pair, but I want to see what comes next, right?
Yeah.
The 2026, whatever they're going to bring us. So we'll see. But there's more Meta news from Boz, Andrew Bosworth. Yeah, share.
So Bosworth, Was it on
Instagram? Because he does tons of AMAs on
I think it was on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
It was a weird thing that kind of came out of the blue, especially so close to like Connect just happening.
Mm-hmm.
But he kind of showed off a very prototype of what they're working on for a wide lens VR headset.
A white screen?
Like a wide field of view. For like the last couple of years, that's been the biggest holdback. A lot of complaints of like, oh, the field of view is not wide enough. It looks like I'm looking through binoculars.
And that's one of the first questions anyone in tech who's like a developer or kind of into that is going to ask us, what is the field of view?
Yeah. And he didn't give specifics on the field of view, but you could see how this was being designed. And I don't consider this a jab at this competitive company, but it felt like very much encroaching in their area. But Pimax is kind of known as the largest wide field of view VR headset manufacturer. They're a very small company. I'm always rooting for them, but they are kind of in the space for people who want to do flight simulations, race car simulations, more high-end desktop VR things that need that more realistic wide field of view. And what was really interesting, if anyone's seen the Pimaxes look wide. The Pimaxes almost look like a on its side shoebox of width. And you kind of would think you have to do that for the wide field of view. This is done in the lenses. So what he showed as a prototype is way more compact than what we're used to seeing in the field, like wide field of view VR headsets. And again, this was very prototypey. Like you could tell there was a lot of 3D printed parts. So this is not like to manufacturing in the next year. But I love any company that's willing to lift the veil and tell their fans what the heck they're working on.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it doesn't come out, at least we know like the future is bright. And this is something that I wish well-established tech companies would get over and start like talking to their users, because I think that's where a lot of things go wrong. And I'm not going to say Meta hasn't made mistakes in the past and aren't currently making mistakes now. I think every large company does. But it is refreshing to see a tech company that isn't afraid of talking about what they're doing. I do think it shows a lot of confidence when a tech company does that, because they're not worried about people stealing their ideas. If you want to compete with Meta, go ahead and go compete with Meta. Everyone can make a VR headset. There's no, patent on that. They're not going to stop you from doing that. But like they're working hard, and there's just certain tech companies that I wish would follow suit, and they don't anymore. It's all it's all smoke and mirrors.
Well, I will say, talking about VR hardware, right? Because that's kind of what we're talking about. I read an article in Forbes this week written by my friend Anshul Sag. He works at More Insights and Strategies and analyst there. Brilliant guy. Brilliant person. I love everything he's been covering. And it was about Vario. So Vario, Varjo, is a Scandinavian, it's a Nordic company that has created a headset, which is like really high quality. Just the quality of what you see, it is almost like, I think, comparable to eyesight or better than eyesight, like than our eyesight.
Yeah.
Fantastic headset. I was blown away when I demoed it. Their US headquarters is actually in DC, pretty close to my house. But he wrote an article talking about Vario's devices, advancing pilot training in the US and the Ukraine. Vario had gained FAA certification status. It is being used by pilots for VR training. It's also being used to train Ukrainian F-16 pilots. So there's a really interesting article about Vario.
Yeah, it's a wildly incredible headset. And for all of our listeners who are now like flinging open their web browsers and Googling it to see if they can buy a set, good luck.
They're what, $3,000?
They're incredibly expensive. They're wildly expensive. And they're kind of hard to get a hold of because they have this is what I do like about the company. They know who they are. They know who their end user is. They are filling a void that Meta has no interest in doing and shouldn't, right? So
that we know of.
Well, that we know of, but I don't think they do, right? Because there's not a huge marketplace for it, but there's a big enough marketplace for a company to do something like this, fine-tuned for the training aspect. I mean,
defense, enterprise, really high end.
Yeah, you don't want defense studies and training to be done in a Quest. I'm sorry, you just don't. It's a great headset. It is my headset, is what I use. That's not what I'm not poo-pooing on it. I'm just saying, if you're going to be doing like flight training
to fly the F-16,
you better make that crap as real as possible. I want them in that $10,000 headset.
Yeah, lives depend on it.
I don't need them in a Quest 3 they bought at Walmart. Okay, like I really don't.
You're just playing, yeah. You're playing Beat Saber. No one's gonna get injured. Well, maybe the walls
your
wall
wall
your
or
house,
your TV might break. But
yeah,
that's what I do like about them, and they've been doing it for I think about a year or two. They've been really public about it, and they're great headsets. I am not affording one anytime soon because it's not for me. But more power to them.
Well, yeah. But congratulations, to the Vario team. They're really interesting folks and great product. Talking about simulations as well, and I didn't tell you about this. I forgot. Was it last week, 2 weeks ago, I got invited to the opening of the F1 arcade in Washington, D.C. There's only one F1 arcade. I think it's Boston. And this was the second opening in D.C. I wasn't able to make it, but I sent a friend of mine as a surrogate, let's say. And she sent me all the videos of her driving these virtual cars because it has full motion simulation. It's a full motion simulation arcade for F1. Super fun. Of course, they've got a bar and it was like super fun activity. But yeah, like the simulators are super fun. She sent me all the videos. And my biggest thought was like, this is fun. This is like a great place to go on a date or something or go with your friends. And then I was like, I am going to do so badly because I am the worst at Mario Kart. I cannot drive a virtual car.
I'm not convinced you can drive a real car. We and I have had this problem. You don't like to drive. I'm a very
safe driver.
No, you are, but you hate to drive.
I hate driving. Absolutely.
You hate it.
Yes.
F1 sent the invitation to the wrong host of this show.
No, they sent it to the right person because it's a simulation driving. No problem. I have no issue. But I was going to take an Uber to it. I was going to drive myself there. Uber, if you're listening, I am like a loyal customer. Please.
Yeah, I think you've got those Uber miles, right? Like if there was a credit card with like Uber mile cards, you'd be there.
I'm a big fan of Uber, I have to say. But yeah, super fun. Their second location opening. I'm working to figure out when I'm going to go. I'm probably going to take my boyfriend and he's going to beat me at driving, virtual cars, I'm sure. I already told him I'm going to be defeated, so it's not competitive at all. I'm very competitive. Like if we go golfing, like Top Golf, or if we do bowling, highly competitive. But this one, I'm accepting defeat. I just told him already. Like he's just going to beat me.
You did get to do the Mario Kart at the Universal Super Nintendo World, right? Okay.
Like I did. I was against my 8-year-old. Of course I won. Come on, Lee.
Just saying, you've played Mario Kart before.
I've played Mario Kart several different ways, but yeah, I know driving virtual cars is not my forte. I know this. Like, know your strengths kind of thing. Know who you are. Right. Know your strengths. So anyway, I want to move on to a different thing. So I think, personally, this is kind of something that came to me after you and I were talking earlier before we hit record, was the fact that like USA Today has like a Taylor Swift reporter. It even has like a Lauren Sanchez, who's like the fiance for Jeff Bezos. Like they have a Lauren Sanchez reporter. I feel like we need to have not a Justin Brennan reporter, but we need to have a Justin Brennan segment because Justin is killing it. And Justin, by the way, Justin, if you're listening, you need to be on the podcast. Justin works for Walmart. He's a visionary. Oh my gosh, what can't this man do? Like, I am so impressed with everything he's done in Roblox, everything he's done with TikTok, like all the live shopping, everything that he's doing, spatial, all these sorts of things. And I'll let you kind of explain kind of why we're celebrating Justin today and why we need a Justin Brennan reporter.
We have one. It's called LinkedIn. Like whenever I open LinkedIn, it is like 90% updates on what Justin Brennan's doing.
No, mine,
like
he's on my. I love his Instagram. Like I'm all over his Instagram because I'm not on TikTok. I have TikTok, but I don't use it too much. So.
No, we've both worked with Justin in the past and are big fans. And congratulations out to him. He is in Ad Age's top 40 under 40 when it comes to people who like really understand marketing and how to meet people where they are. This was just announced today. So, like we're kind of watching the news unfold and couldn't be happier for him. And I honestly can't think of someone who would better deserve it. I remember the first time we'd had a conversation, he and I, about like where gaming and the concept of the metaverse and where brands can arrive and be authentic and making sure that things actually resonate authentically. And he has had this idea in his head for years and probably is the closest person who's pioneered it to I don't know anyone else who's pioneered it to the level of success that he has done for a brand, like really has stuck to it. And when I say moved mountains, there was stuff in those early days he said he wanted to do on Roblox, and I borderline laughed at him and was like, that's not, I really did. I was like,
you're like, that's impossible.
That's not technologically feasible right now. And we'd have to like get Roblox to like redo stuff. And over those years, he's made it happen. So when Ad Age announced their 40 under 40 and he was on it, I was like, yep.
Makes total sense.
Totally makes
well
sense.
Deserved.
So very well deserved to Justin.
Can we say that Justin's like the Taylor Swift of marketing? He's in his Taylor Swift era. Can we say that?
I'm trying to remember if he likes Taylor Swift.
He does. I think he will. Okay, well, then he's in his Beyonce era. I don't know. Whatever. Like who's having a great year. I don't know.
He's in his Justin era. I'm just going to let him own his
Justin era.
Yes.
Justin, you do you. You do you. Yes. Okay. Amazing. So Justin, we're big fans, as you know. So you got to come on the podcast. Please talk to your PR people. Please, ASAP.
Make it happen.
Anyway, make it happen. All right. Now moving on to Adobe Max. So Adobe Max is their creativity conference. It happens later in the year in the fall. There's Adobe Summit, which is more business focused, B2B. Adobe Max is more creative. It's my favorite Adobe event. I didn't get invited this year. Sad tear. Sorry. Adobe, if you're listening.
Yeah, as you're in like South Africa and then going to Rome. So no, Adobe, yes. There is like
Adobe,
really...
It's okay.
No pity.
And I was in Munich last week. So yes. Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to cry. Don't cry for me, Adobe. Don't cry for me, Argentina, but don't cry for me, Adobe. Anyway, Adobe Max happened. There were lots of really interesting people there, lots of AI influencers as well, thought leaders as well on site. There were some headlines that came out. They had lots of announcements around Firefly, around their AI, but there's an article that came out that says Adobe Max attendees are getting tired of the relentless focus on AI. Someone was quoted as saying, it's not a design conference anymore. It's an AI conference. So what are your thoughts around that? I'm a huge fan of Adobe, like huge fan of them.
I am too. I've had a love-like relationship with them, right? I've never been like, oh, I don't like Adobe. Like, no.
You're in a situationship with them?
I'm in a situationship with them, right? Yeah. And it really has more to do with like subscriptions and things like that. But I get it, right? Like, it's fine. Yeah. That's just the day and age that we live in. But I think that there's a lot of legitimacy to this. Even when I look at marketing coming from Adobe, it looks amazing. And let me tell you, nothing in my Instagram feed is more interesting than Adobe ads, like because they're showing you how their AI tools literally can just instantly fix things. But this got me thinking as I'm watching these, before this article even came out, what is the brand telling the user, right? The artist who's using it, the person who's, okay, you're selling a tool to people who want to be, it's called a creative suite for a reason. So you're selling it to creatives to create things. If every tool that you're doing and you're creating and putting out there and bolstering is focused around how AI can do it for you, are you not telling your customer that your customer is no longer necessary?
I mean, I get the point. Their bread and butter are the creative. Well, no, I mean, businesses too, right? But from the Adobe Max perspective, it is the creatives, right? So I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that or if it rings true to me. I get the perspective, though. I get kind of where you're going with it.
It's a psychological thing, and it's not like they're blatantly saying it. I don't even think they're intentionally saying it. I think that they're taking the technology as far as they can, because if they don't put the technology out there, someone else will, and then they're kind of caught behind the wheel, right? So they're not doing anything inherently bad, but I can see, like, as someone who's also gone to these Adobe Max conferences, they're a lot of fun. They're always kind of like a 3-ring circus for creatives.
Oh, it's the best, yeah.
But if I'm there and everything is... there's an AI solution for that now.
Everything's AI, yeah.
Well, what the heck am I doing here? And this goes to what AI does is create tools that make content. They're not necessarily making art, but you can use their tools to make art, right? And this goes back to that art versus content, AI versus humanity thing. Yeah. I had this thought just like way before this article came out. And then when I saw this article, I was like, no, that's a real question. That's a really, like, how do you handle talking to your loyal customers who are adopted into your ecosystem, who are monthly, yearly subscribers to your entire creative suite and say, yeah, we're making all of these tools so you don't have to spend hours tweaking and editing and blah, blah, blah. But in doing so, that really does also devalue what a lot of artists think of themselves as digital artists.
Yeah.
I would dare say there's more artists, at least in like the United States, that are just digital artists than they are like physical, tangible artists, in the sense that I think that there's a lot of artists that live in their laptop and don't do anything in an actual paper medium or like film photography or even print ever. It never leaves the screen. So what happens when they start getting devalued by, not intentionally, but what happens when they start getting devalued by the tool that they have bought into? I don't know. It's just, that's a real concerning. If I'm in Adobe, I'm looking at that as a real like great point and a marketing opportunity to set them apart and hopefully explain how AI doesn't replace the artist. It just can make the artist better. But it seems like that's not resonating at this particular Adobe Max.
Yeah, it's interesting. I do think they're definitely going to do that. They're definitely going to take that feedback and they're going to figure it out. Maybe balance it a little bit more next to Adobe Max, not make everything AI. I mean, they have so many amazing other things that don't. They've been talking AI for a long time, though. Like I have to say, Adobe Sensei has been like AI for a long time. But yeah, I think maybe the balance was a little bit off. I need to kind of like talk to a few folks that went to Max and see that. But yeah, let's definitely say, I mean, we're fans of Adobe here. So
I have one more AI story.
Ooh, okay.
So you're an author. I'm aspiring to be an author right now. And I found this incredibly interesting. Penguin Random House. They've actually gone as far as to amend their copyright wording across all of their imprints globally. And now printed in their copyright section will say, in imprint pages across markets, it states, no part of this book will be used or reproduced in any manner for the purpose of training artificial intelligence technologies or systems.
Wow. That's for all Penguin Random House books or products?
Yeah. Yeah. All imprints globally. And Penguin Random House is big. So I like this approach. They're patching the loophole.
Yeah. Whoever it is can't just grab that because it's already written into their IP, right? Wow. What happens to the books before that? I guess the courts will tell us. But that's a very smart move by their legal team. I think that's a very smart move by their legal team there, I have to say.
Yeah, it is very interesting. And Penguin being one of the largest, arguably probably the largest publisher of books in general, that is a swinging bat that has nails in it. Like, it's going to be a very interesting approach to fixing this.
Does it hurt them? Like, that's my question, though. Like, it's always my mindset. It's like, does it hurt them? Does it help them? Like, do they not innovate as much? Or like,
I don't know. But I thought about it like this as I read this article I immediately thought of eggs.
Okay. Walk me through this, Lee. Walk through this here because I don't see it. I mean, penguins? I don't know.
No. When you and I were growing up, you go to the grocery store, you just bought eggs, right? You bought a dozen eggs. You might have 2 or 3 brands to choose from. You're getting brown eggs, you're getting white eggs, but you're just getting eggs. Yeah. Today, you go to the grocery store and you have 1,000 different brands of eggs, and they're all like 30 cents price difference, right? You can get the cheapest eggs. They might be white, they might be brown. You might get free range eggs, but they're not organic. You can get organic eggs, but they're not free range, or you can get free range and organic eggs.
And you pay a premium?
Yeah. Or you get the ones with like double yolk in them. Like science has gone mad when it comes to eggs. I don't know if anyone has been in a grocery store lately, but it's gotten weird. But this is like that growth of technology and having to find niches that really want your product. And I do wonder in this particular case, is this the first step of like media being like, this is not allowed to power AI? And is it a selling point? Is there a subset of intellectuals who like this particular type of medium that would pay a little bit extra to know that this is authentically organic content that is not being used or repurposed into AI? Is there an upsell here for 15 cents? Like, that's kind of what's cooking in the back of my brain.
I see it. Yeah. Interesting how your mind works, Lee. Interesting. Okay. Well, it is interesting news from Penguin Random House. We'll see what happens. I mean, and we still have to hear from the courts what is going to happen with all the AI, legal battles. I mean, it's like We're just waiting.
We're just waiting,
y'all. We're just waiting.
Yeah. But it's a nice first step. I'm excited to see it.
Well, yeah, it's a smart legal move, I have to say, for their IP.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go to a break. And then when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit about Dispatch from the Fringe. We'll have Lily jump in. Let's go on break.
This message is brought to you by Warner Brothers Discovery Advertising. And this is more than an ad. This is an invitation to be part of the stories the world can't stop watching, to connect with moments that dominate the conversation, to participate in culture, not just advertise around it. With the most sought-after IP, passionate audiences, and an advanced AI-powered foundation, WBD advertising transforms attention into influence and impressions into outcomes. This is innovation. This is impact. This is opportunity. This is Warner Brothers Discovery Advertising. Visit advertising.wbd.com to learn more.
Blowing ad budget on metrics that look great till the CFO sees them? That's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
I remember telling my boss, it'll be good for the brand, when leads were slow. Yeah, it wasn't.
Cut the bull spend. LinkedIn lets you target by company, job title, and more. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
All right, Lee. So as usual, Lily is bringing us something interesting. This time, let me just paraphrase this. Before we start and I tell everyone what it's about, one time, probably when my daughter was, I don't know, she's 14 right now. So maybe when she was 12, I don't know, 10, 12, I asked her, hey, honey, what do you want to be? She literally said she wanted to be a lunar food scientist. A lunar food scientist. And I was like, oh, okay, that doesn't exist. I mean, it kind of does, but there's foods, like there's space food science, that is done here on Earth. But she wants to be a lunar food scientist, at least at that time. And I was like, where did that come from? Granted, one of her best friend's dads works for the Space Force, so I'm sure there was some type of strange conversation at the dinner table, who knows? But it really struck me because she said that, and I was like, okay, so food science on the moon, yeah, if we terraform and if we go to the moon, like it seems really possible after SpaceX, after what we saw, then we are going to need people to figure out how to farm on the moon or create food or keep food or make food taste good or whatever, right, on the moon. So very interesting. And then Lily shares Dispatch from the Fringe. I'll let her talk about it, but it's about farming off planet. So let's go to Lily.
Are your ad campaigns lighting up the dashboard, but not the pipeline? That's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
My boss asked for results, so I opened my dashboard for the only positive-sounding metric I had. Impressions.
Cut the bull spend. See revenue, not just reach. LinkedIn delivers the highest return on ad spend of major ad networks. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Drop me a comment if you've read or watched The Martian by Andy Weir, because this week's Dispatch from the Fringe is all about life on Mars. Human life, to be exact. So in a piece from MIT Technology Review, David Brown reminisces 4 billion years ago about the shorelines, rain, and cloudy skies on Mars. But the planet cooled quickly, leaving it without a magnetic field. And eventually, all the water evaporated, and Mars became the planet we know it as today. But that isn't stopping scientists on Earth trying to figure out how to grow food on Mars. The NASA Artemis program is designed to land astronauts on Mars and eventually create an Earth-independent human presence. Rafael Loreto, an associate professor at Winston-Salem State University, who specializes in plant stress physiology, says that we can sustain crews of 10, maybe 20, very comfortably with hydroponics, but it doesn't scale much larger than that. So hydroponics may be able to get astronauts to Mars, but what happens when they're actually there? Well, they'll need a mix of hydroponics and food actually growing on Mars. The Martian character uses potatoes to sustain his life, but that isn't necessarily the way to go in the real world. Also, there's a problem with Mars. There's a chemical compound called percolite, and it's toxic to humans. And there's much more of it on Mars than there is on Earth. You can burn the compound out, but you have to get up to 750 degrees Fahrenheit, almost nuclear levels. So on Earth, NASA tapped Andrew Palmer, an associate professor of biology at the Florida Institute of Technology, to grow plants, fungi, and bacteria in a lunar and Martian regolith simulants. So he has a artificial building. The building is real. He has a building with artificial lighting and soil and temperature to try and recreate the environment on Mars or different soil types that will work on the planet. And he found that growing plants in a Mars simulant makes its texture fluffier, and that using an artificial biome to try and grow plants makes sense since Mars can be as cold or colder than Antarctica. So you'd most likely be growing them inside anyways. So are we 20 years away from living on Mars like Elon Musk projects? It doesn't look like it. But using science on Earth to figure out how to grow plants and soil on Mars and address the percolite problem will bring us one step closer. Thanks for tuning in to this week's Dispatch from the Fringe.
All right, Lee. So the quest to figure out farming on Mars. Thoughts?
Well, I guess if our climate keeps changing and the globe keeps getting warmer, at best, we're going to learn how to do farming in like Death Valley. That could be interesting.
Mars is pretty arid, so yeah.
Yeah, it seems like a transferable knowledge. Like, even if we don't make it, we'll learn something.
Well, we'll see. We'll
guess.
see. I don't know.
I'm not going to Mars.
So you're not going to take the trip. If someone says we got to, maybe it's probably a one-way ticket, let's be honest.
Yeah, it's one of those things, I'm a Floridian. We deal with like hurricanes a lot, and we wonder why, people don't always evacuate when they are told to evacuate. But in this case, if I'm told to evacuate Earth, I think I'm just going to go down with the rocks. Like, that's just going to be I'm not going to evacuate Earth.
I'll be on that starship with my kids. I'm like, we're getting out of here. I mean, I don't want to leave planet Earth. It's wonderful and beautiful. But yeah, if that's the situation, first, give me that ticket. I'm on it. I don't know if I would go to Mars. Mars, yeah, that might be too much.
That's a long trip.
That's a long trip. I'm not ready for that. Moon, I would definitely do like space tourism. Like, of course, it's really expensive right now. I'm not going to do it right now. Like, no way. I don't need to go to the moon or space right now. But once it gets to that point where it might, I love to travel. I'm like, okay, let's go to space.
Would I go to space? Yes, I would do that in the right circumstances.
What's the time zone on the moon? That would be a big issue for you and me to record the podcast. Like, I'm going to the moon this week.
Now, I will say, when I was working with Will.i.am, he was working with NASA, and we did broadcast Black Eyed Peas music from Mars.
There you go.
That was cool. So, like, it can be done. The delay's a little annoying.
We probably wouldn't be using Riverside.
No.
I think there's going to be a lot of latency there. So, okay, well, maybe, to the moon. We'll see what happens when we do space travel.
Although we didn't have Starlink back then, so maybe.
True. So maybe. I mean, the Mars is too far. Mars is too far.
Yeah. I'm thinking moon. I'm shooting for the moon. Yeah, that's fine. For the moon. That's as far as I'm willing to go.
Yeah. Amazing. All right, everyone. I'm going to let you, Lee, close out our podcast today.
Yes. So thanks, everyone. This has been Tech Magic. Come for the tech, stay for the magic. And we will be back next week. Cathy will be out because she'll be in fancy Rome, but we will still have an amazing show for you to check out wherever you find your podcasts. Hit us up on LinkedIn. Leave us a positive review. If you have show notes and you're like, hey, you should talk about this more. You contact us. That's what we're here for. Until next week, thank you. This has been Tech Magic on Adweek, and bye.